May 22nd, we're rolling south to the Caribou, to Timothy Lake for a wedding. Trailer's good to go for now. Got a few more repair projects to do on it, but hopefully the important ones are done. Up. Well, boy. Good evening. We made it to Quesnel, British Columbia. It's a nice evening. It's actually a really nice campground here. Municipal campground right in town. Quesnel River's right over there. Here's a camping spot. But what I learned is you should always do your pre-trip inspection in the evening. Because if you leave it till last minute, when you're ready to go in the morning, you end up finding problems. This is what we found right here. That doesn't look good. So what's happened here is we've had a suspension bolt break off. That's actually the fourth one that's broke off since last July. It's now May. And we took 6 months off during the winter, so in 4 months of RVing, I've broken 4 bolts, which are all in the same location. I believe it was 2 on this side and 2 on that side, all on the rear axle. Get the other side out. Oh yeah, shift it forward. There's the other half. Broken bolt. That's what I'm gonna have to do. Just drop my jack down a little bit to get this bolt lined up on the spring. It's close to the right height now. Gotta get a ratchet strap. So as you can see, this it pivots, like that joint there pivots. So the axle, or sorry, the leaf spring's pivoted forward. So we got to line that back up. I'm going to use my favorite tool to do that. My favorite tool is the ratchet strap. These straps come in handy for so many different things. Go see where we're at. Oh, she's got to come back some more. Check her out for alignment. She's almost in the perfect spot. Got to come back a hair and up a hair. Means the trailer's got to come down. Just see here. There. One more. One more on there. Best system ever. Axle relocation tool. So I'm going to show you this replacement bolt quick. As you can see, there's no holes and there's no grease fitting. I did prefer greasable bolts in the past, but for this particular axle, I don't anymore, and I'll show you why in a few minutes. Throw some grease on there for now. What little good it's gonna do. No, I don't know if I can fit that in there with the tire on there. Oh yeah. I think I can. As long as I can get her to go through. Might need a little persuasion. Oh yeah. Stover nut. Self-locking nut. I put just enough torque on there that it sandwiches the bracket a bit so the bolt's not wearing the hole out, flopping around. We still got to have a little bit of space there for the leaf spring to pivot so it's not sandwiched in between the two brackets. Which is why I pay no attention to the torque spec on these bolts, because it's bullshit. It's BS. It means nothing because it totally depends on how these brackets are made. Each one's fabricated slightly different. The gap in between here can be slightly different. So the torque means nothing on these. Torque spec means nothing. You do it by hand. If you do it too tight, it's going to sandwich that spring so it can't move at all on the bolt and the bushing. If you do it too loose, the bolt is going to walk around in the hole and wear this bracket out, and then you're going to end up having to weld a new bracket on because the hole is going to be oblong. Now, another problem I've had with these stover nuts is if you adjust them, loosen them off a little bit, they seem to lose their self-locking feature very quickly, which actually led to me losing one of these nuts up in the Yukon, even though I just replaced it recently. And I caught it just before the bolt fell out. Like the bolt was literally hanging out about 2 inches. So I caught that on a pre-trip inspection too, which was really good. But I believe if these were actually nylock nuts, which I'm very familiar with, they would actually work better because the nylon actually is reusable multiple times before it wears out and gets hard and loses its self-locking function. Where these stover nuts, it seems like if you reuse them or even back the nut off and adjust the torque, it loses its self-locking feature. So what I do is I get a punch and I actually stake the threads. Which actually means damaging them a little bit. Some of you are probably familiar with staking. That just makes it so that nut can't fall off because the threads are slightly damaged. But you can still take it off with a wrench, no problem. That's called staking. Just an extra added safety feature. There, that bolt is replaced again. I'm getting good at this. How you doing, beautiful?
Not bad.
Cashy?
Just went for a little walk. There's a story walk over there. A story.
Oh.
Like a page of a story on each little board. You just walk along and read it. Cash, come here.
Cool.
Yeah. How's things going?
Bolts replaced.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're getting so fast at that.
Getting so fast at it. Drop her back down on its feet. So what I actually do on my pre-trip inspections every day, sometimes when I'm on like a rough road where it's going to be tougher on the suspension, I actually check her a couple times a day. But I just look at all these bolts from both sides, make sure all the nuts are still on. Like I said, it's always the back axle that gets all the stress. So I also look at it from this direction and make sure that this bracket is aligned, it's not spread apart, and that the bolt and the nut are sitting flush. Because as you've seen, when it's broken, it's usually hanging out a bit on each side. I usually have a quick look at the welds here, make sure they're intact, not cracked or broken. This one here broke off one time before, so it was a crappy weld. It actually broke off a few years ago. It actually broke off prior to my first bolt failing, and ever since then I've been losing bolts. But I think that's due to the brand of bolt. I think these must be a different brand of bolt and they're poor quality. But like I said, I'm switching over to a different type of bolt. So I'll show you guys the reason why this bolt failed. There it is right here. The bolts that I was using had the grease fitting on them, which means that there's a hole drilled lengthwise through the bolt. And then there's also a hole drilled 90 degrees through the bolt for the grease to come out into the bushing. So as you can see here, that's a weak point where the grease hole is, where the cross is between the two grease holes. And the bolts fail right there. So that is why I've now gone with a non-greasable bolt. These bolts here have been failing. This one here lasted about 2,500 kilometers, and I didn't even have the trailer overloaded. And the highways I was on weren't even that rough. There was a few frost heaves, but there's no excuse for that to only last 2,500 kilometers. So bolt wearing out slowly over time, because it doesn't have a grease fitting, is much better than a bolt failing every 2,500 kilometers. One thing with these toy haulers, you got to have a triaxle toy hauler beyond a certain size of unit to be able to haul the extra weight. This one here has a 16-foot garage in the back, so you can put quite a bit of weight in there. I definitely do. But the rear axle, when you're turning corners, it pivots on the center axle. The trailer pivots, and all the stress ends up on the rear axle, especially when you got lots of weight back here, which is causing problems with that rear suspension.